don't know if John Lloyd is around with his harmonica. Is he anywhere around? Do you have an E or a G harmonica, maybe? And you come on up and let's do a little John the Revelator together. John Lloyd. E or G. I can play John the Revelator in the key of Q. I've been doing it all my life. And here we go. At some point, I'll tell you what. Tell me. Tell me. Tell me who. Right. How's that key sound for you? Tell me who's there riding, John the Revelator. Tell me who's there riding, John the Revelator. Tell me who's there riding, John the Revelator. Who wrote the book of the seven seas. John was on the Isle of Patmos, exiled and driven away. But he received that revelation in the hollow of that cave. Now John saw a vision of the Lord Jesus, the glory of the incarnate Word. And with the voice of many waters, he said, write down what you've seen and heard. Woo! Tell me who's that riding, John the Revelator. Tell me who's that riding, John the Revelator. Tell me who's that riding, John the Revelator. He wrote the book of the seven seas.
When I was in the military, just before I went in the Army, I did a little drug usage, but very, very little. Never did any hard stuff. Smoked marijuana, did LSD a couple of times, didn't really like it at all. And then got drafted in the military. And there wasn't a whole lot to do there. And then from time to time, you know, I'd smoke some marijuana there, but it wasn't something that happened all the time. One night I was with some friends that I worked with that were with artists as well. And it was a weird night, even what I did, you know, because I smoked some marijuana and then I drank a bottle of Romalar cough syrup. They've taken it off the market now. And then I really got blitzed. I found myself on a small platform about maybe 6 by 6. And there was, looking down, there was a rope that was pushing it out into darkness further and further, and it was going to the music. And I just kept going higher and higher and higher, and it was black. And I thought, man, I've never been this high before. And I thought, what happens if the wind blows? I realized there was nothing stable. I thought it was my turn to die. I wasn't even a Christian. And then I had an old Volkswagen at that time that I bought for 200 bucks. You can imagine it wasn't a lot of car. And so I got in my car and I just started looking for the interstate. And it was a typical hippie mobile. You know, I bought it for 200 bucks and it was primered and reversed rims and no bumpers and all that stuff, you know. And I got on the interstate and I just started looking for a bridge just to go in, just to drive into. So I saw a bridge and I just wheeled into it going 80 miles an hour. And when I did, it ricocheted off and I had an old Mexican serape on and it got caught on the car and I went under the car and I was dragged on my back from 80 miles an hour down to 0 under the car. When the car finally stopped on its own, I was pinned under the front wheel of the car on the other side of the car. I had a broken hip, I had a collapsed lung, a broken jaw, and of course it didn't do much for my back, although I don't even have scars there today. And then I was there for just a couple days and I got really, really dizzy. And I put my head back on my pillow, and when I did, I was taken out of my body. Literally lifted out of my body, and it's like the Lord just lifted me up and then just stopped. And I didn't see God, but His glory was over the top of me, and I knew it was God's glory. And I thought, man, I know one thing, I'm not going to heaven. If I go anywhere, I'm going to go to hell. And I asked God to please forgive me and give me another chance to live, and I'd live for Him. And that I just, you know, I'm turning away from the sin that I was involved in. And He held me suspended for some time, and then slowly He just started letting me back down in my body. I can still weep about it. And every once in a while I weep. How God spared my life when I should be in hell today. And I got hold of a Bible, New Testament, and I read it through in about a week and a half, 2 weeks. And my language changed, my habits changed, my friends changed. As soon as I can, I started, you know, just visiting churches. But it didn't do much for me. Even when I'd meet with a pastor in his office, you know, they didn't want anything to do with me. You know, just the old hippie in their church, no way, you know. And they didn't say it, but it was all over their face. And then I got out of the Army and went back to Fort Wayne, Indiana, and the job I had before in automotive design. And I started going to a church called Calvary Temple, where Dr. Paul Pano was the pastor. And it wasn't a church like they grew up in at all. He really kind of took me under his wings. He knew God was doing something in my life, and that he really knew and believed I was saved and God had a calling on my life.
paying me to tell you how I taught him how to play guitar.
John Lloyd. Oh, all righty. Thank you so much. I'd like to bring Honey Tree up.